Hello and welcome back to another episode of Exos Heroes Hero Spotlight. And today we'll be looking at Jinn, head of the Red Skulls. So Jinn is an edgy, white-haired rogue with a spammable reset on kill ability. Jinn just screams or whispers assassin, right, from the way he looks to the way he does. And he works to keep his enemies as quiet as he is, with a synergy-dependent silence on both of his skills. However, the irony really sets in when you realize Jinn's Fatecore is a mouse/rat that is exponentially more dangerous. So Jinn, as we mentioned, is a fated chaos hero. He has the machine element and he's a physical attack type. So with that, let's take a look at his skills.
Sure, so we'll start off with Jinn's basic attack. It deals 514 to 618 damage to a single target. Pretty basic, it's just a jump and a slash. His A1 is Shadow Slash, and this deals 180% damage to one enemy, but has the special effect of having his turn reset if the target dies. It also comes with the Ambush effect, which afflicts a target with silence for 3 turns, and mana burns 1 mana if the target is charmed, which is Jinnai's unique passive, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. His A2 is Shadow Dance. It deals 375% damage to a single enemy, and afflicts the target with silence for 3 turns and mana burns 1 mana if the target is charmed. So you can see both of his actives share the ambush passive. If you look at Jinn's passive by itself, Final Hit 3, he attacks an enemy if the enemy's health drops to 10% or less, and he gains 1 mana on this attack. And so this is very useful as a bit of a finisher in PvP and PvE situations, which again leads into his A1 turn resets. Why don't we talk a little bit more about how his kit all comes together?
So it goes without saying, Jinn is the stereotypical edgy ninja assassin character every gacha game has to include, and he lives up to every expectation. Jinn's low mana cost on both his actives means you can spam those cool shadow clone jutsus animation basically every single turn. This is also compounded by the fact that his A1 resets if the target dies, in true assassin fashion, which just means more backflips and more slashing. And although the damage isn't as high as his counterpart Baraka, Jinn still has more than enough damage to sweep through a majority of PvE content. It's easy to see what Jinn's intended playstyle is, as his simple kit doesn't leave too much to imagination. However, there's a bit of nuance added to his synergy with Jinnai's charm passive, where he has a 3-turn silence and a small mana burn. This can lead to a bit more decision making where instead of mindlessly spamming skills, you have to pick priority targets to silence and perhaps sacrifice an A1 reset in order to do so. Jinn's passive can be a bit trickier than it seems at face value, much like the ninja he is. While in most cases it would function as just the last bit of damage to finish off a target, when facing more complex teams, you may run into passives or abilities that can proc at low health, and in these situations, having that extra attack may throw a wrench into some low health survival plans. But with that being said, Jinn's Fatecore brings him to a completely different level, so let's take a look at that.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna talk about Jinn, that's a mouse, right?
Or a hamster.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so now it's time to talk about Hamster Jinn and what his Fatecore brings to the table. Now, both of his actives are pretty much exactly the same, right? Single target reset on skill 1, and just high damage single target on his skill 2, both low mana cost. What makes him so incredibly dangerous as a hamster is his passive, and so let's open that up right now. Branding. Grants a branding mark when a skill strikes a target afflicted with charm. Mark increases 20 dodge for self when an enemy is marked with branding, and decreases the hit by 10 of the target every turn, and removes branding marks on the enemy when attacked. So there's a bit going on here, but it's nothing too special. This is just something that happens passively, and so you get a little bit of dodge and you decrease the hit of an enemy, making it hard to hit you. Naturally, he's a hamster, he's pretty small. The most important part here is Heart Strike, so let's get into that. Heart Strike will afflict Heart Strike level 1 to one enemy with the highest health when the battle starts. You increase the level of the mark when a target with the mark is damaged by an ally with the Heart Strike skill. Obtain 1 mana per enemy mark level at the beginning of the turn, and the effect of the mark increases as the level increases and it stacks, and all the effects cannot be removed. And it inflicts Heartstrike level 1 to the enemy with the highest health upon the marked target's death. So basically right at the beginning of the fight, nothing has happened yet, and the highest health enemy will be afflicted with Heartstrike level 1. So what is that exactly? It's a debuff that decreases the attack speed by 20 for the target. And so 20 attack speed might not seem a lot at face value, but when you think about how the hero speeds are tiered, 20 is actually pretty significant. So we start off with that. Then if you attack them again, you activate Heartstrike 2, which is another debuff that decreases 1000 defense of the target. Now, most heroes in this game don't even have 1000 defense, so this is very, very significant debuff, and you only need to attack the target twice for this to proc. But this leads us to Heartstrike 3, which is just the most ridiculous part of it. You deal 200% damage to all enemies upon activation, and there's a status effect that afflicts the target with blind, and an overtime effect that afflicts 2000 damage to the target every turn. So this is every turn until they die, and you cannot cleanse this debuff. So essentially, whoever you hit with Heartstrike, if you get to Heartstrike level 3, they're basically guaranteed to die. This just makes FC Jinn one of the most ridiculous Fatecores in the game currently, as the Heartstrike passive is just incredibly strong. And so that's it for us today. If you guys have any other thoughts on Jinn or his Fatecore, please let us know in the comments. To see more reviews and guides of Exo heroes, feel free to check out our other content, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Alright, see you guys.